what kind of strategies or things do you do with artists or help them to be like, this is what you need to redirect your energy on and focus on in order to get this person as a fan, kind of thing?
Well, I can't give away all the secret sauce, right?
The sauce, yeah.
But we do provide various marketing services that if a client chooses to utilize those services, we do curate and lay out a guideline, an outline, a game plan, however you want to word it. These things are laid out for you to execute upon. And
right.
I tell people, hey, everybody can have all the same tools or the same path. Everybody's not going to be as successful as the same person for various reasons.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, my name is Kevin from Music with Flavor, where we bring you the latest and greatest in music industry tips and knowledge, helping you try to find success in the music industry. Very happy to have a special guest today from Symphonic Distribution. Goes by the name of Octavius. And we're going to have a good discussion on the music industry and music distribution. So you have a pretty great background, and I want to thank you for joining us today. And for those who may not know, could you give maybe a bit of a background on yourself and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Octavius Crouch, also known as Doc Ock. You can call me Ock for short. I'm the senior client manager here at Symphonic Distribution. Also do A&R and oversee the hip hop and R&B acts, but not limited to that. But been in this industry for a very long time, too much and too long to show my age, but but I've been enjoying the ride.
Awesome. Yeah, I know it's great to have you today, and I think we're set up for a pretty good talk here today, especially going through distribution. So in talking of Symphonic, I know there's a lot of distributors out there, but there's a lot of them vary in multiple ways. So for a lot of people who may not know about Symphonic and what you guys do at a grand scale, could you kind of touch on that for the viewers?
Sure. Now, for those that don't know, Symphonic, it's a music distribution company. So we're a platform. We distribute your music to the DSPs, which you would know as Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, et cetera, et cetera. Essentially, we're here to get your music to those platforms so you in turn can get it to the audience. We support artists from the independent level all the way up to the major level by increasing exposure. And the goal is to ensure that your releases are successful by reaching your audience and by expanding your audience with each release.
Got you. Awesome. So, and yeah, and like I said, there's so many different distributors out there, and it seems like more and more are popping up. Is there something that you would say makes you different? Because I think distribution isn't just about getting on those DSPs and stuff like that, as you mentioned. So what, if I'm an artist wanting to choose a distributor, should lead me towards you guys as opposed to someone else, kind of thing?
I think one of the cool aspects of Symphonic is that we do have a smaller roster compared to some of the other distributors. Why is that important? It allows us to support our priority clients more so because there's not a lot of competition that you'll have. That doesn't mean that we don't have top tier acts, but at the same time, it's more quality over quantity. And by having a client manager, they can assist you with outlining and setting up your releases strategically, and it can ensure that your releases are uploaded correctly, that provide you rapid response to your technical questions, so you don't feel like you're dealing with a customer service rep. You're actually dealing with somebody that's more curated to oversee and tailor your releases, specifically to your needs. And also there's so many things that by having a client manager, it can help you with the marketing overall with your project.
Right. Okay. That's Interesting. So basically it's not like anyone and everyone can just hop on this platform, and start distributing your music with you guys. You guys are kind of scaling it back and a bit more selective as to who can get on the platform then?
Yeah, we're not open to the general public, but this does allow us to maintain the bandwidth with our priority clients. And this comes in handy because we are supportive of the independent space. But at the same time, we like to align our services with clients that are moving in a progressive direction.
Okay. Makes sense. Would you say, like, is there something specific that, you're looking for in an artist? I've actually just recently had someone come up to me and be like, oh, I want to get on the Symphonic. Do you know, how does that work? What do I need to do? Is there something specific you guys are looking for in artists? I know you mentioned progressive. So what does that mean on a grand scope of things for an artist trying to push their music?
I would say an artist, client, label, manager who's moving forward with their releases, moving forward with building an audience. Because there are some acts that may be brand new that doesn't have a real audience. But if you have the groundwork laid out that shows that you are moving in towards a productive direction, that's a client we would like to do business with. If you're just starting out, have no idea or concept of the business, while we may be supportive of, once again, an independent artist starting out, it may be too soon to join our platform. But once we see that there is metrics or things in place, this is when we like to get behind this and support it.
Got you. Okay. Is there any artists right now, just randomly, that you're working with right now or that you're excited about from the Symphonic standpoint? Or
oh yeah, I mean, we have too many to name, but yeah, just me personally, hands on. Like, we have a incredible artist out of the Nashville area, singer songwriter, does like a alternative pop type of music mixed with R&B, named Isaiah Huron. He just had a recent release with us. It's called Self. Check it out. All the DSPs or Spotify, the platforms are picking it up. And when I say pick it up, meaning they're putting it into their official playlist, which is very challenging to get to get these type of pickups. But he's a new artist. He fits in that space of what I was just saying, like, hey, this is a new person, because we do have a lot of acts that were on previous record labels or other companies that had big success, but we also like to work with new talent as well. And I like Isaiah because he represents our progressive and forward thinking of getting behind newer talent. But we also have Dallas Austin. He's a legend. He has his label here, Rowdy Records. We also launching his distribution platform, which me and the CEO, Jorge Brea of Symphonic, we're working together to bring this project to life. We've done a soft launch, but now we're getting prepared to release it to the general public. And he has a whole roster of dope talent that's coming out of Atlanta. I could go on and on. I don't want to spend too much time with name dropping. Yeah, there's a lot of great talent here.
Yeah. And I obviously you don't want to leave anyone out or snub anyone or forget anyone, but, that's very cool. And for me, I'm looking at as well, like how you say, having a wider bandwidth, you're able to work with more people, are closer with, your people that you guys are bringing on. So how closely are you working with the artists or even, labels and stuff like that? And cause you guys got a wide scope of services that I noticed as well. So it's not just like a cookie cutter thing. I'm assuming, are these people bringing you a plan and saying, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. How can you help me? Or is it more, hey, I see, I'm auditing what's going on your side of things. And hey, this is what we think, we should run with moving forward with this release or other releases in the future kind of thing.
All right. Yeah. Now, cause there was that was a multiple tier question.
I know, yes.
But so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. In terms
Okay.
of communication and how we're interacting with the clients, in regards to our
Right.
priority clients, they do have direct access to their client managers. Once again,
Mhm.
our initial question about what separates us from a lot of distributors is that we do provide client management to our priority clients. Once
Okay.
again, because of that, we're in communication with them by phone, email, or even Zooms, because that's just the
Mhm.
current affairs, right?
Where it is.
But at the same time, in regards to is the client bringing us the plan or are we crafting the plan? Both scenarios are possible. We do
Right.
encourage the client to lay the groundwork because essentially you are in control, you're the leader. We're here to help support your needs and your growth and guide you into the direction that you're trying to achieve. But yes,
Mhm.
by doing so, if we're getting involved with the marketing aspect of it, then yes, we do have marketing services that we provide to, once again, that's curated to your needs, whether it's create a marketing plan, a social media campaign, an ad campaign, influencer campaign. There's so many things that could be done. It just depends on the scenario.
Right, right. And not that I don't want to get into necessarily like fees of each and every service that you guys provide when you get in there. Cause, like I said, you guys cover a lot. But more so maybe like talk to commission based. If I'm an artist, I come on with you, we start working together. You're starting to help me push things. Is there something that Symphonic is taking, especially if in this case, it's not like, maybe like a TuneCore where everyone can just hop on.
Yeah.
You guys are putting in more legwork towards, pushing me as an artist. So is there something that you guys take for your efforts on that side, or is there a negotiation that goes into that depending?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and great question. So, in regards to commission, I don't want to say we're commission based per se, because that might be more of a, okay, you do this, you get a cut. It's more
Right.
so, it's a percentage based structure that we provide our clients. That
Okay.
way, and some people are like, hey, well, what are you doing for your fee or your cut or whatever the case? And a lot of times it's just handling the administrative side, the technical aspect, ensuring everything is encoded correctly, providing the platform that you're using to
Mhm.
communicate with with the DSPs. On top of that, we do also provide playlist pitching with our distro services. That's usually built into most of the distro deals. And when I say
Mhm.
playlist pitching, that's more so we're pitching the music to the official playlists on Spotify, Apple, and so on and so forth. Those platforms do have third-party playlisting, but if you need something like that, that's a separate service. But at bare minimum, we will try to pitch your music to these official playlists. And at the same time, it's not guaranteed. So what that means is you do need a strategic strategy in place to ensure that all you're hitting all avenues at the same time and not just one lane. And that's where the client management comes into play, which essentially this is why we do offer the percentage base because of the type of work that we're putting in behind the scenes.
Right, right. No, that makes sense. And you touched on the playlist pitching. What other opportunities do you say provide for artists? Like in terms of, is that maybe sync opportunities or, are you guys putting, I know with COVID right now, like maybe events or stuff that, your artists can kind of perform at, or you're getting them opportunities like that, or even just education and stuff. Is there stuff outside of just the realms of distribution and, what you guys are doing that you're also working towards
Of
helping
course.
the artists that work with you?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's so many things. I'll touch on some of the popular things that we provide. One, we're one of the few
Mhm.
distributors that do distribute your music videos to the DSPs. So when I say that, that's beyond just uploading it to YouTube, which means we deliver your music video to Tidal, Apple, Facebook Premium. There's some specialty ones in the Latin markets that we also provide too. That may not apply to everybody, but we have that ability. And also
Mhm.
Vivo. And we also can assist you with combining your YouTube channel with your Vivo channel. So it's not just your video showing up on Vivo and not on your page. You want to keep everything unified. So we assist with putting all of that together. We do have a sync division known as Bodega, which does assist clients with getting placements in commercials, television, film. That is it. It's like a subsidiary within our company, but they kind of operate as their own company. And we also have, if you're a music producer, you're selling beat packs and things of that nature. We have Symphonic for Producers. It's another separate platform within the ecosystem. And this helps allow producers to sell their beat packs, give them exposure, because that's a popular thing within that world. It may not cater to everybody per se, but if you're in that world of production, this is a platform that's beneficial. Those are all separate services that are not necessarily a part of the distro agreement. So, but if you need those can be added to your overall distro agreement with Symphonic.
Wow. So really, it's not, I know I keep mentioning artists, but it depends on if you could be a label, an artist manager. It's really just kind of sitting down once you guys get on if someone gets on and seeing, okay, what does this person actually require for the type of assistance and how can you guys help them kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Now talking about distribution, from an artist perspective and releasing music, in your opinion, I'm sure you've dealt with a number of releases and you said you've been in the music industry for such a long time, seen a lot of things evolve. What would you say or believe, artists maybe put too much emphasis on when it comes to releasing or distributing music that maybe in your experience doesn't actually move the needle per se?
Sometimes it's hard to say because I've worked at a record label, a major record label. I used to be an A&R at Universal Records. So I've seen that side of the business, and I'm working here at Symphonic, which is the distro side. So both business platforms have a path of success that are kind of separate, but in tandem, right? With that said, some people can focus, like I said earlier, too much on trying to get into a playlist on Spotify or something. That's the end all be all. And it's like, okay, if you get in there today, now what? Do you after we high five and we're happy we made it in there, like what's next, And a lot of them don't see beyond that because that was their only focal point. So when people that choose certain paths of success like that, when it doesn't work because those things aren't guaranteed, now the whole project falls apart because there really was no strategy or marketing plan based around it. And same thing with people who may focus too much on increasing their followers on social media as opposed to increasing their monthly followers on Spotify. Because if you had two choices, would you rather have 200,000 followers on Instagram or 200,000 followers on Spotify? I choose Spotify because if I have 200,000 followers on there, every time I release a single, that's going to go out to all 200,000 followers. That cuts out that promotion, right? Because that's already built in. Whereas with social media, if you have 200,000 followers, even if you put out a post today, it's not going to go out to 200,000 followers just based upon the algorithm. So everybody's not even going to see it. And then now you have to get all those followers to leave the platform and go to Spotify or Apple Music, which a lot of them don't want to do that. So it's about focusing on what's going to be most beneficial for you as an artist. It does help because Instagram does give you visibility. Playlisting does give you visibility, but the goal is to get the music to your fan base and build upon that audience with each release. It's slow and steady wins the race is what they say.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that makes sense too. Cause I think that is one of the main challenges. Like you said, people just focusing on, I want followers or I just want to get on that playlist, but what is going to happen after that? Like that can't just be the end at the end of the day. And speaking to the fact that it's hard to get people to do things nowadays. What would you say, like, in terms of helping artists redirect their energy to be like, okay, how am I actually getting that person from A to B? Or, you know, so that I have them, as a core fan who's actually going to buy merch, or, you know, what kind of strategies or, you know, things do you do with artists or help them to be like, this is what you need to redirect your energy on and focus on in order to get this person as a fan, kind of thing?
Well, I can't give away all the secret sauce, right?
The sauce, yeah.
But we do provide various marketing services that if a client chooses to utilize those services, we do curate and lay out a guideline, an outline, a game plan, however you want to word it. These things are laid out for you to execute upon. And
right.
I tell people, hey, everybody can have all the same tools or the same path. Everybody's not going to be as successful as the same person for various reasons. Some people just may not like your music, right? That happens. It's a reality. They may not like the first song. They may like the fifth song you did. That you changed your look, or you're now co-signed by this person, or you're on tour here. You got visibility on this platform, a TV show. You know, there's a lot of variables that come into play that help boost your popularity. But at the same time, you still need the same building blocks to get to that path of success. And as long as you're doing the bare minimum, you will get there eventually. But hey, there's some people that take off from the first song. I look at that more as a lottery pick. It's not guaranteed. Like, you can go buy a ticket today and become a millionaire overnight, but you shouldn't base your path of success in life by playing the lotto. That's just, hey, I'm going to do this, but if it gets me rich, cool. If not, I'm going to still work and do what I need to do to pay my bills, right? I'm going to still, and as a client, artist, or whatever, I'm going to still put in the work to make sure I'm building my fan base with each release.
Right. So yeah, those things shouldn't necessarily change the vision and how you're progressing to get there. It might just help, but I see what you're saying. It shouldn't change if it doesn't happen, kind of thing.
Correct.
Cool. What would you say, like, in terms of doubling back now to Symphonic, is there any like myths about the platform that you hear that you're like, no, that's not true, or, you know, that you want to debunk per se?
Personally, I haven't heard any. Because right now, distro is. Some people look at distro all the same, but they're curious, like, what's different over here? Distro at bare minimum, distro is all the same. The goal is to get your music onto the digital stores, right? No different than back in the day. If you went to a distributor, it was to get you into the brick and mortar stores, Tower Records, you know, Walmart, whatever store that doesn't exist anymore, right? But now it's the digital stores. That's the bare minimum. I'm getting you onto these platforms. But it's like everybody cooking a hamburger, right? We're all going to start with a bun, the meat, the lettuce, all this, but it's about how you cook it, right? You might put this type of seasoning on there. This person may put some type of different type of sauce on there. And you're going to have a different audience and different successes based upon that. What we like to do, like I said, we do have tens of thousands of clients, but there might be like a TuneCore or somebody else that has, you know, these millions of people signing up, which is cool. That works for them. But at the same time, you may not get all the TLC you may want because it's just too, it's just the bandwidth is just too broad. At least here, us having a smaller roster doesn't mean that we're not successful or just as competitive as the TuneCore or Orchard. It just means that we have a different path. Our formula, our secret sauce here, this is how we work, and this is why we're successful. We're fully independent. We're not going through another label. You know, when you go to some of these other distributors, they're upstreaming to, you know, Universal or something like, you know, Warner, you know, they're now bringing back their distro companies now because they want the majors want to get into this business because there's a lot of money, man. You know, because they can't really be the gatekeepers they used to be because it's just too broad. I can connect with a fan from social media without any need of any label, and as long as I've perfected, let my fans know that I have a new song out, I don't need anybody. So this is where distro comes into play because we're here to ensure that your releases are on these platforms and help you with that exposure.
Right. No, that makes sense. And yeah, totally. Like, I think that is, someone like looking at, well, why can't I get in on this platform? Or, I can go over here and do this, that, and the third. And I think, like you're saying, it's what type of service are you going to be getting, once you're in there, right? Are you all on your own fending for yourself, or is someone actually helping you along the way, kind of thing? So, that makes a lot of sense. And you talked to the point of labels having to change and they're hopping into this business too. What would you say, just music industry in general, or like from your standpoint with distribution, and at your guys' company, when it comes to like the future and where the industry is going, what trends do you see or do you think that are going to happen or occur moving forward here?
It's hard to predict everything, because
yeah.
Once again, I started out in the major record label business side, and now I'm here. And
right.
I wouldn't have thought I would be in the distro space when I initially started out, because it was all about working at what you traditionally see, the Universals and the Def Jams and all this, right? But the trend keeps changing because the technology changes, right? So
right.
I didn't see so many trends of why someone has been successful just from the shift of, I started in the business in the mid 2000s, like 05, 06, 07, that time. Because I started out as an intern at Universal and I ended up getting hired there. So I've seen that transition of physical sales to digital sales, with Apple Music controlling, dominating the business. And in between, there's a lot of little trends. Ringtones is why people are popping, and then blogs is why people are getting signed, and then people are on tour, and that's why they're getting signed. And or BDS on radio spins was a trend. There's so many things why people get signed, but now we didn't transition from not only digital sales, but now streaming, and cut out a lot of things in between. Where is it going? I'm just like you, man. I'm sitting in the seat and I'm in it for the ride, The key is adaptability. If you learn how to adapt, you'll stay in this business. Now, distro is a trend, but distro's always been here, but it's more catapulted to the forefront because, as I explained earlier, the gatekeepers back then, you could only be seen if you was in a brick and mortar radio, maybe on tour. It was just, those were the traditional spaces. Now I can be heard because I went viral, or I have a YouTube, there's so many ways that you can become popular, which now brings eyes onto the music, which is your product. Because once you become popular, you can sell anything, right? Shoes, cook, a book, whatever, But at the same time, when it comes to this music, there's a lot of lanes to get to there. I know lo-fi producers who have, 2,000-3,000 followers on social media, but they have like 500,000 or more followers on Spotify. And every release has got 1 million or more streams. And guess what? It's just instrumentals. And I mean, it's of no disrespect. There's no lyrics on there. Nobody's singing, nothing. It's just a beat. And they are successful in their own right. And we're not even going to talk about artists that do covers and, that's making money just singing other songs. That's another line of business. See, there's a lot of trends there that come and go. But one thing, working in the distro space, you are able to see that there's other ways to make money in the music business, as opposed to, let me spend all this money to become known or famous and hopefully get a deal. And you spend all this money, your whole goal was to hopefully get picked up by somebody else. Where in the distro space, you can do that same work for yourself now. You're not worried about spending all this money and spending all this time doing something to hopefully get picked up and discovered. You're doing this because you're becoming your own boss and leader. Right.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense because there are so many different lanes out there that, people are just even, like you're saying, creating or carving their own path. And to us on the outside, it might not seem like this person's doing anything, but if they have their own little foundation and plan going, they can be doing something, like you said, in their own right. And I think too, with so much new technology, I know NFTs is like a buzzword. But I think it all comes back to your
I didn't even want
of,
to touch on NFTs.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not getting in there, but so what after that? You know what I mean? Like you put that out. So what at the end of the day, like what are you going to do after that? Right. So as an artist, you can't just, focus on one thing. It has to be a well kind of thought out plan and foundation to everything. So
correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, was there anything that we, didn't touch on that you really wanted to speak on? I know he said no NFT talks.
I mean, because the NFTs is so unproven. It's still too new to introduce that into a business model. I would just, I would say, hey, do your research if you're interested in engaging with that type of line of business. It is something that we are paying attention to, but it's too early for me to discuss that on a public level.
Right.
Because it's just like anything, like the movies. They're always writing and crafting up stories for that next episode, that next sequel. We're doing the same. Right. We have a lot of things internally that we're crafting and working on, and as much as I like to share some of these ideas or what we got coming up in the next couple months or year, I like to let the work speak for itself. And, I just can't wait for the public to see it.
Yeah, I respect that. Well, yeah, then is any like final words of advice for say an up and coming artist or aspiring artist, trying to break through and make some noise in the music industry?
I try to tell everybody, network. Don't stay in your head or in your own space. You have to network. And yes, this is a post-COVID era, but at the same time, we've learned to adapt. Remember the key word, adaptability. So, COVID has changed everything, but at the same time, we've all learned to pivot and stay in position and keep the momentum going. And with that said, you have to network. If you're an artist, work with other artists. If you're a producer, work with other artists, work with other producers. If you're a songwriter, write with other songwriters. But you have to consistently build your network and keep working, because that's how you're going to eventually get into more circles, which will lead you to more placements, lead you to more visibility. You can't do it all yourself. Unless, once again, you get lucky and it's a lottery pick. That can happen.
Yeah.
But you don't want to base your whole strategy around a lottery pick. You want to do the work, and that's what's going to get you in front of people, or get your art or your whatever it is that you do in front of people, and which will lead to success.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Well, I don't have any other question. I think this was an amazing discussion. I learned a lot more about symphonic myself.
There's so much more to learn with us. I don't want to bore everybody. I mean, if you're interested, anybody come check out our website, symphonicdistribution.com. We're on social media. We're very active. We also educate not only just our clients, but anybody from the public facing. On our website, you can watch our tutorials, videos, just education on the music business, things that are constantly evolving in the business in general that affects your releases for the future. We provide all this information. So we do try to give back to the community, not just internally, but externally as well.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, if nothing else, I really appreciate you joining us today, and I think this was an amazing discussion. And again, Symphonic Distribution, Octavius Crouch, and I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, if you want to see me on social media, it's amazing. That's AMZN _ doc DOC _ OCK, and it's the same across all platforms. But check me out, reach out if you have any questions, and I'll definitely try to communicate with you.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, we'll be sure to leave all the links and stuff in the description there so you guys can check that out as well. So, but once again, it was a pleasure, and
thank you, man. Having a great time.
Appreciate you coming out today. Yeah. Awesome.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for your time, and giving this opportunity to help educate the public.
Definitely. That's all we're here to do, essentially, is help people get to that next level for sure. Cool.
Thank you.